is so little, but it has such a big presence. I mean, you can see it across the room for sure. And the title of it is She Was Waiting for the Real Answer. Right? She said, all of us have looked like this at some point in another. And it looks like she just finished the conversation. You know, whatever it was, and now she's just, you know, stuck with whatever that conversation was. She likes her titles to tell the story, obviously. And she was an English teacher for 40 years, so this is where you get the insights. She likes titles, of course she does, she's an English teacher, right? So she likes words. So all things are an art, you know, so there's the art of writing, the art of making the titles, you know, they all come together, and that's why I'm an expressive artist and a expressive artist facilitator, because I like to do all the different arts and see how they all come together. So this piece that has such a big presence, she started with landscape, this woman, and then she moved to pastel. So, you know, the artists are really, most of them, except for that guy in there, you know, really jump around until they feel comfortable, and then as soon as they feel comfortable, they probably pick something else. Because it's just the nature of the artist, always wanting to create something new. So she moved to acrylic, and she, you know, she just started to think about conversation, and has always been a woman, like she's a feminist her whole life, so she's attracted to women and what they're like and what they think. And so she started with these women, and now she has like a huge series of them. She's drawn to contemporary folk art. So that's kind of now, sort of rings a bell, because then you go, oh yeah, now you can look, you almost can look at it better when you know she's interested in contemporary folk art, where every single thing on the canvas, or on the wood board in this case, is the same. In other words, so that, you know, the colors, the background, her face, are all on the same plane. You know, everything's as important as everything else. There's nothing that's going to stick out particularly. And so women is her personal passion. She made up the character. I thought maybe it was going to be someone. And when she starts to paint the face, the title comes. So that's interesting. And when she said, we've all made that expression at some point. She's self-taught and always has art as a part of her life. And she has about 16 of these now in the series, painted on wood panels, smooth boards. She doesn't like the grainy canvas. So there's another example, like she needs that smooth to get that flat, you know. So she likes the boards. She likes the boards. So it's very realistic, but it's cartoon-like, right? The scene might be over, but the story isn't, is what she says. So this woman's probably about 30 to 50 years old. I said, how old is this woman? And so this is just a normal woman in a normal space. That's it. And I said at the last minute, I said, what's, you know, with this? You know, why? You know, why would you do that? You know, and she said, it's cropped so you can zoom in. She wants you to zoom in and see the person, you know, instead of looking at this whole person. Sometimes you don't look because no one's drawing you in. So she crops it to draw you in. Kind of interesting. Yeah, so I learned a lot from just that little piece. You know? Yeah.